Hi, everybody. Welcome to Star Citizen Live Gamedev Fun with Props. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee, and if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, well, go back, watch all the other ones. We'll wait. Star Citizen Live is where we take about an hour out of our Friday at the end of the week, and we hang out with some of our developers. We goof off. Sometimes we answer questions. Sometimes we make stuff. Very occasionally, I force Jeremiah to sing. This week, it's one of those shows where we make stuff. So let's get to meet our people. This is Lewis.
Hello.
And this is Dan. Say hi, Lewis.
Hiya.
Hi, Dan.
Yo.
Hey everyone.
How you doing?
Bit panicky, but it's gonna be great. I think I'm pretty
It'll be
excited.
fine. Is this your? I can't remember. I know this is Dan's first SCL. Lewis, have you done one of these before?
No, this is my first one as well.
This is your first one as well. We got two first timers here from the props team. Let's start because every show is somebody's first show, and yes, we do have some signature phrases here. Thank you, chat. Lewis, tell people who you are, what you do for the props team.
So I'm Lewis. I'm a prop artist, and basically I make boxes. I've been at about a Cloud for about a year now. I think it's going to be a year, like in 4 days. So yeah, and I managed to not do a Star Citizen Live for all this time, but yeah, no, it's time to rip off the Band-Aid and crack on. So yeah,
Make boxes. All you props people are so humble. Like, yeah, I just make boxes for a living. Just make boxes.
Mate.
Dan, who are you? What do you do for Star Citizen?
I too am a box artist. No, I've been here for about 6 months. I'm in the same team as Lewis. We do like the same stuff. We work on a really cool team making all sorts of fun stuff to be pushed, pulled, thrown, shot around the verse. It's a lot of fun.
Now, Lewis, tell them the terrible thing you told me when you came on the call this morning.
Oh no, he's gonna out me for everyone. Oh, I was just saying, like, so since I've been in college, like, I've always kind of followed the development of this game, and this is a bit of a fangirl moment for me joining and meeting Jared for the first time because, yeah.
Yeah,
So
he came in the call. He's like, dude, I've been watching you since uni. It's so cool to be here. And I was just like I aged like 40 years in 10 seconds. All right, so what are we doing today, Lewis?
Okay, so pretty much what we're going to be doing today is taking something that already exists in the universe and kind of bringing it up to the modern standards that we have. So there's a lot of stuff that's been developed over time, of course. So there's some props that were maybe created before certain tech came online. So basically, we're just going to take an existing asset, try and reimagine it a bit, and create it with some of the new stuff in mind, really. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing.
Oh, we lost your audio there for a bit.
Which bit do we lose on?
I don't know. But basically, folks who follow the development of Star Citizen know that it's very common. They see it a lot with our spaceships. You know, things developed in early days. As the game continues to progress, as the game continues to evolve, the tech continues to evolve, the metrics continue to evolve, just our overall art standards continue to evolve. Part of a normal and continuing part of the process is going back and revising some of our older assets and bringing them up to modern standards. And that applies to everything from our big giant spacecraft down to our teeny tiny props that populate the verse. Lewis, Dan, it's your show. Take it away.
Awesome. So we thought we'd try and spice it up a bit and give this a kind of bit of a narrative. So here we have the Ship Showdown winner, everyone's favorite ship, the MPUV. It's illegally parked, unfortunately, and
Criminals.
all these workers are tilted. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually take some of these cones and we're going to cone it off. But yeah, no,
it's
it's
a bit
not.
whack, isn't it? It needs a bit.
Yeah, so I think there's some stuff we can do to this cone to bring it kind of up to standard. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with the cone, but there's a lot of new stuff that we've got that we can take advantage of that other teams can also use. So what we're going to do...
for example, like if you look at the floor, see where the light's hitting it on the left, like look at all that really nice information environment art's put in and stuff, and even the ship itself, whereas we're getting none of that with the cone. And we just want to bring it up to that, that AAA standard, because since this cone was made, AAA's moved on, and yeah, so we're going to start, as we always do, with a cube.
Well, I feel like, go back to the cone real quick.
Yeah.
I feel like, is it a cone?
No, it's not.
No. First and foremost. Like, I don't know who made this back in the day. We're not, well, I do. We're just not going to name names, but come on. we can be a little more cone shape, I think.
We know exactly who. We're going to email them. We're going to find them.
Sometimes
so start a process. So
right.
Does this start with reshaping the original, or are you going to start from fresh?
So there's like two ways we can approach it, really. We can either take the original and update the materials and do some stuff to it, or sometimes if we've got a bit more time permitting, we can actually go in and basically completely reimagine it. So that's kind of what I'm going to do today, because then you can see kind of more of the process. So
also, it needs to be like fit for purpose as well, right? You see, obviously, we were just looking at it in the level and it was like flat, but the one in the max scene here on the left is all folded up and stuff. So, we're going to try and reimagine a little bit of everything on this. Like, I mean, looking at that, it kind of doesn't make sense. Well, it would just fall over if it was like that. So we kind of want to keep that folding stuff, also making it look more cone-like, so it's more identifiable. Because, a big thing about 3D art is silhouette, right? And just while Lewis is modeling this cube here, you'll see as we flash past the old asset, from one side it looks like a cone, but from the other side it looks like just like a thin box, right? And you want it to have a read from every angle. So that's something that if we tackle it in this way, we're going to be able to achieve.
And that old one had the animation, had the little deploy animation. Obviously a safety cone or a traffic cone doesn't need a deploy animation, but Star Citizen is a bit extra in some areas. I don't think that's a secret.
This is the cool thing, actually. This one we've got two variants of it, but it hasn't actually been animated, this one.
Oh.
So that's something we can definitely just to add a bit more interactivity to it. And obviously set it up so that, maybe, I don't know, level design, maybe you want to make it into part of the level where they want to deploy, maybe not a traffic cone, but like in general with a lot of the props, we like to do as much as we can to make it so that, we're kind of fit for what's going to be happening in the future. So maybe it could be wired up to a button or, but just having that option there is something we can definitely have in mind as we go forward on it.
I think it's something that we've learned in a lot of ways. There's a reason we're coming back to this asset, and it's maybe because when it was first made, there wasn't a lot of forethought into, what it was going to get used for in the future. So, coming back and giving it a bit of love is always going to go down well. And we can also take the opportunity while we're here to spend a little bit of extra time to make it more fun, right? So that current cone would be just static, whereas this one will be able to make it so, like, if you shot it, it would like fall over and stuff like that, and you can pick it up and things.
Yeah, folks in the chat are asking if this cone will actually be going in the game. That's actually why we're doing this work. We're trying to piggyback on work that they were already doing. So
yeah, exactly. So we have like a few different stages to when we're modeling here. So at the moment, obviously, you can kind of see the rough shape of the cone. We've put these horizontal edges across, the like kind of lines you see, and you'll see like these extra edges, the chamfer pop in and out over the course of the thing as well. It's just Lewis making sure it's shading correctly.
Oh, Craig the Space Bum has a much better name for the show. Hold on, I gotta change the name. I gotta change the name of the show. Hold on.
What's he saying?
You guys keep working. I got this.
What's he saying?
I can't see Twitch. I want to see this new name.
No, it's now Citizen Cone 2021.
Oh my god.
That's perfect.
Good job, brilliant. Craig the Space Bum.
Thank you, Craig.
This one's for you, mate.
It is, yeah.
This one's for you.
Need to find a way getting Craig's name on this asset. Like a serial number.
It could be Craig Brand Space Cone. Somebody earlier was remarking about how anybody that's ever played Halo knows how deadly a traffic cone can be.
That's right. It's the newest weapon. We all seen the bomb video you guys like at the beginning of the video yesterday that was put out. We can just sit on the back and just throw these out.
I mean, technically, once this is fully physicalized, it can be lethal. It can be lethal.
I'm sure it will be.
Proper physics are applied. No, it's not Sitcone 2022. It's not Sitcone. It's branding is important, people. Citizen Cone. This is Citizen Cone.
There we go.
Can we have the cone as a hat? Not with your attitude, E-Hawk.
Is there no please and thank you?
You know what you did. You just sit there and think about it.
Good idea, though. You got to give him that.
I'm not going to give him the idea of using a safety cone as a hat. That was Devo. It's not his idea.
Just throw it at your friends when we get it in.
Do CIG modelers work in Maya as well, or just 3DX? CIG modelers work in all manner of softwares. We got folks who work in Max. We got folks who work in Maya. We got folks who work in Blender. We stretch over into like ancillary programs like Substance Designer and all kinds of stuff. Houdini. Basically, it's use the right tool for the right job.
Yeah, we're very fortunate here to have access to almost any tool that we'd ever need to like get the job done. So it's always so useful. A
fantastic tools team that makes all the converters and exporters and importers necessary so that our developers can work in their preferred software.
You'll see here throughout the video once Lewis says he's about to place the asset now, he has a hotkey on his keyboard, which most of us do, where we just press a button and then in 3ds Max it'll just push it straight into game for us. Now, anyone who's worked in like other engines or worked in 3D software before knows that that is not something that we should take for granted. Sometimes file export, then refresh it in the engine. It's like takes like 10 seconds, which when you're trying to change like one tiny thing like 10 times, like just to get it right, it gets so frustrating. So yeah, the tools guys here are just wizards, and we worship them.
No, big shout out to everybody on the tools team who is too shy to ever appear on video. But I got you.
This is for the unsung heroes. So we've got a basic cone shape, right? So and yeah, that's the end of the stream. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. So yeah, this is like more cone shape sort of. But we can go further with this. So this is like probably the minimum you'll do if you start putting it in the scene and going, okay, right, so how does this compare to the character?
It's not nearly extra enough.
We'll sci-fi it up.
We've had our first crash.
We need like a crash counter in the top.
We
have
need a crash.
No, we don't have a crash counter. We imagine between 3ds Max, we push that software in all the wrong ways.
Yep.
We have
very bad stuff.
So yeah, but when you have like a cone at that stage, we would usually call that white box, which is even though it was colored in, right? Sometimes it wouldn't be. It's just pretty simple to chuck orange on a color.
No, we call that a 30 cone, people. It's a 30 cone. You gotta keep up with the puns, everybody.
That's what he was thinking of. The whole time he was sipping that Coke, he was just sifting through every joke he could make, and he was like, that's the one. And it landed.
Right, so thinking about how we can kind of take this from a bog standard traffic cone into something a bit more interesting. Obviously, in the future, things have been developed more and become more convenient, so maybe we can create some sort of system where this cone can actually fold up like the other one. But maybe in a bit more of an interesting way. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to separate these segments. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun.
KV3D is answering to Wumbly Bumbly. See, this is a show about props. Jared will probably not answer it. Well, I didn't see it. What was the question? Wumbly Bumbly, what was your question? Was it about props? I missed it. It went by.
Better have been traffic cone related.
I would hope. You know.
We only do traffic cones here and boxes.
Yeah, this is a big jump for us.
Yeah,
Today.
Weeks of preparation for the. You want to make a box without one.
Well, honestly, as long as we put like anti-grav or something on it, then this can enter Ship Showdown 2022.
Oh damn!
It's using the Argo color scheme in it. New ship confirmed. The Argo cone.
So when we were looking at it before in editor, we had like just that simple shape, but even just in these last like minute or so, when you see Lewis detach every sort of section and then put the chamfers back on, which is kind of the things creating that almost beveling that makes them look like separate pieces, that is starting to branch more closer towards grey box. So we have white box, grey box, Lod Zero, and then final art, right? And what we're going to try and do today is we will show you like the final art version of this if we don't get that far, but we do expect to get pretty close to Lod Zero, which is basically like what you'd expect to see in game. So the pretty thing that you guys are all used to looking at, that's Lod Zero, and then all the back end tech, like making sure the dirt and wear are all correct and the LODs are all correct. That's all the final art stuff.
Yeah. I found Wumbly Bumbly's question, and the other guy was right. I'm not going to answer that because it's not about games. It's a different show. Will the A2 be able to deploy cone-based carpet bombs in the future? Yes. Normally I would avoid answering that, but I feel really, really comfortable confirming that right now. Giant, enormous cones deployed by the A2 at least 6 months before launch, before A2 launch. So you can actually do it now. You're just not trying hard enough.
We've been waiting on the props team for someone to take the gurney from the hospital and then push their friend off the back of a Starlifter or something, but we're yet to see it on Reddit. So someone get on that, please. We've been really excited to see that.
It's homework from today's stream.
That's right, yeah.
It's your homework assignment.
We did it in testing. It was fun.
We should we should do that. We should have that as this is our last SCL for a little bit. Next week is CitizenCon, and then we come back the week after. But we should start having a troll contest every single week on SCL. Just give the community a mission, something very trolly and dumb to do every single week, and see what they come up and see how they come up with doing it.
There you go. Find a trolley, get it in the back of a Starlifter, and launch yourself into orbit.
Well, not just
tired
yourself.
Enough, I could probably do that.
Your mates too. Star Citizen is a community game.
Yeah,
Yeah, all
if your friend's
involved.
not attached to it, it doesn't count.
Yeah. Don't want no single player shenanigans. That I'd be pretty impressed if someone managed to work a gurney onto a ship and then throw themselves out on the gurney just by themselves.
That's a stretch goal. If we can get that done, even better. But no, when we were making the trolleys and the stuff for the hospitals for last patch, like I remember what was just seeing everyone messing around with like the walkers and the gurneys and stuff. It was just so funny. Like, yeah, it's really cool to see what you guys get up to. You're all crazy.
Right, cool. So we got this. Trying to remember how I made it earlier.
For the folks asking about the Picoball, go to Twitter and find Ian Leland. He's on social media now, and just ask him over and over and over again if he'll tell you where they are.
Yeah, he loves questions about that stuff.
People are still having trouble finding them. Go bug Ian. Tell him Disco sent you.
Right, so let's see what other detail we can add to this. So I'm going to split this into 3.
Oh, we had impermanence.
Because we will be. We've got this shape, but yeah, still we can go a bit more interesting on it, try and add some more detail. So
there's a good example there, Lewis, if you go back. So in editor, you see that at the moment the 2 second top segments, kind of 2 and 3, are all fully colored, but Lewis inside his Max at the moment hasn't exported it yet. But you see that he's insetted it slightly and left an edge in there. He's going to put POM on those lines later, and you'll see the difference that it makes. And that's something that with the tools Jared was mentioning earlier on our crazy POM stuff, it allows us.
We love POM
so much. This is where I'm going to throw a wobbler, and I'm not going to put the POM in there now because you said it.
Well, it'll look rubbish. So
don't know so much as you think, Danny.
If he doesn't do it, it'll look rubbish. So it's a
Thought you had me there. Uno reverse.
Maybe do the top one with POM and the bottom one without, and then you can actually see the difference POM makes, because it's kind of insane.
Yeah.
Because everybody's show is somebody's first show. Dan, why don't you explain what POM is for folks?
So POM stands for either pixel offset mapping or parallax occlusion mapping, depending on how smart you want to try and sound.
It's the second one.
Yeah, if you want to try and sound really smart, you say the second one.
Parallax. It's just too cool.
It sounds too cool to not say.
If you have the option of saying parallax and you choose not to, you're
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So if you want to be humble, say pixel offset mapping. If you want to be like a cool kid, say parallax occlusion. Essentially, what it is we have a height map, and it's like a gradient of black to white, and white representing high, black representing low. And what we do on there, you can see in the bottom left, at the moment it's purple because that's normal map, that's something else. But we would have like the depth shown in this like kind of scale. So like all the crevices would be like dark, and then all the high points would be white. And then what the game engine does is it looks at where your camera is in perspective to what it's looking at, and then it will actually physically move the texture, like it will offset the pixels or based on the parallax of what you're looking at. And then you end up with this cool illusion of depth that isn't actually there, but it looks like it's there. I believe it. It's magic. That's what it is. Clever people came up with it, and we just use it. That's POM. You'll see it. It's easier when you see it.
Yeah, I'm just going to set up a new material quickly so I can build it as we go along.
It's very powerful. So like typically anyone who's got any familiarity with modeling something like a bolt, or even just putting in like lines on something, can be really destructive. And like, let's say we're working with Ian, who we just mentioned, and the art director, and he's like, oh, let's move that line. Like, I don't like that panel line being there, or maybe we should remove a couple of these bolts. It's looking a bit heavy. Like, if we were modeling that traditionally, it would take up way more memory, and it would take way more time to adjust, and it would take way more time to do in the first place. So the fact that we use this extra texture space in this really fancy shader, it just speeds us up so much. And it's one of the reasons why you'll see in our game there's so much detail in areas that other games like just don't, because it's like our engine's kind of built around this really cool shader and workflow that we kind of use.
This sounds like a replay video. No response from these guys. I would just say you haven't been paying attention. But we're definitely pre-recorded people. Don't let the name of the show fool you. CitizenCon 2021, absolutely pre-recorded this year.
This is what we do. You can't pre-record people like me and Dan. It's not possible. We're just too dangerous. We can't be captured on film, some say. Right.
Like Bigfoot, except we're really small.
Just maybe delete the mesh. Oh dear. Right.
So you see down on the left-hand side how he just clicked that purple thing in the middle? What was really cool is he had an edge selection, and he just went, I want it to go in now. And then he just clicks that, and then the magic tool puts it in for him. So
I'll demo it again. Here we go. Ready for some line. Oh, so we select what width we want. So we could have, if we wanted to, we can have,
Jesus.
10
10
big boy.
Of...
Yeah. but we don't in this scenario. So we went for the small one, and we can customize these sizes depending on the asset as well. So like, something that's much bigger, you'd go for a bigger one usually. But but in this case, we'll go for this size. So what I've actually done, I'm going to quickly.
Where's the materials going from?
I've made a new material. That's why, because I want to build. I want to build the new material out. I don't know why it's got a reflective material by default. It's a bit annoying.
Your specs set to full.
The American viewers at home have realized that this is pre-recorded, and we filmed it on January 10th, 2021. We've had this in the can for about 9 months.
Yeah, I actually did this month one of.
Oh yeah, he hadn't even.
When
I hadn't
arrived.
even started working here. They just called me in. So you can see on the top section there, show them that line difference there, Lewis, the break, and you can see where the white transitions there on the top section, how nice it like bevels in before it hits that mottled thing. Whereas on the one below, we don't have any of that. It's just a flat transition. That's POM doing magic.
We don't like that. We don't stand that. That's not what we're after. So what have we got here? We got. I just need to reorganize my IDs now that. So what I'm doing, just so you know, I'm creating a new material because basically the material I was using before was the old cone material, but we want to kind of bring this up to a better standard. So I've created a new material, which we're gonna build as we go along. So that's now inside 3ds Max. We're just going to select this ID actually.
One thing that obviously the cone's not orange at the moment, but a lot of the time when we model things, we actually model them like white, and then we have something called the tint palette system. So you see all the little cubes at the top of Lewis's screen there. Within those things, we have like options. So you see there's like a drop down below that folder for tint palette, and at the moment it says none. Kind of hard to see. Lewis, if you point, just be nice. There you
see my cursor,
yeah. So we can change that to primary, secondary, or tertiary, and basically the environment guys they have like a system that allows them to select our prop, and then they can like choose what preset they want, right? And that will change the primary color. So if they were like, I want a purple cone, they click the button, and then we've told our material using that drop down, okay, well, if the environment artist wants it to be purple, this is the thing you need to change, because obviously we've got tons of different things that can be changed. So having like we kind of point it at the right direction, and we can do that for like anything, right? It can be like lights on something, so say they wanted like to change the little diodes or something, or like the rubber. It could be anything. In our case, it's the orange on the traffic cone.
Yes, Otwin, this is the first step in our new Cones of Loreville board game. Who determines polygon count of each asset? Like do you have a max guide? Like, how detailed can you get with a cone?
So
go on. You answer this. I was just going to say, like, we kind of. So what we do is we'll take a look at the asset and we'll just essentially work to get it as low as we possibly can. And the more you do it, the more you kind of know where you can get away with like reducing the poly count. So there's like certain techniques you can use. So like one of the ones I learned like ages ago was like the squint test. So you basically go into max and you know, if you look at this model here and you kind of squint, wherever you can see like the most kind of density. So for example, on this, it would be around these parts here. That's where you can kind of reduce, and it depends on the distance as well. So like the smaller, a lot of artists get caught up with the detail, and they'll have their face like this close to the model when they're modeling it. But let's be honest, when you load up Star Citizen, you're not going to be
crouching next to this code.
I don't know actually. Some people do. I remember like I'll be looking at the textures, but yeah, you tend.
Corey's not here to defend himself.
He probably is in the chat. He'll start.
What Corey will always say to us. So for those that don't know, Corey's our lead essentially. So obviously Lewis said like basically we're sensible with our try counts. We try not to. We get it as low as possible, but we don't sacrifice detail because like we're trying to make the prettiest game we can. But you know, if something's a bit spicy, as we would describe it on the team, you know, we'll sometimes go, right, we probably need to calm down a bit here. It's traffic cone, but like it's contextual as well, right? Like if you have something that you can pick up and the player can like look at and stuff, we need to make sure LOD 0, so that's the version of the model you see from close up, is, you know, you're not going to look at it and be like, what the hell, that looks rubbish. But then when you walk away, it's obviously going to change to a lower LOD, which, you know, will allow us to like save that memory.
Okay, so we got like a it's going to be distorted because I haven't UV unwrapped it yet, but we've got a kind of preview of this material, which is going to be a bit more interesting to look at.
Probably want to make it orange.
I was just going to show off. So what I can do now is, you can see here I've made the material tintable. So I've selected tertiary, and what this means for like environment artists and anyone building levels is, depending on where they are, they can change the color palette of the item pretty much.
Oh, so this is the thing I was mentioning before, right? So this is the menu they go in. So you see that tertiary thing there, it says diffuse color red. That means if he applies this one, it'll be red.
So yeah, you can essentially go through. Once you've set up an asset fully, you can basically like mix and match your color palettes, and it'll always have like, I don't know. So I'm using really bad examples here, but for example, the tertiary color is usually like the quite vibrant version. So for a cone, you'd want that as most of the body, because then you're getting a. So you know, they could come in and use this, and this could be like a construction site cone or something, or you know, you can have a medical one, like a sectioning a medical area off or something, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, one of the good examples you'll see is the use of the hospital beds. So depending on what location hospital you're in, the color palette changes. In some of the space clinics, I think the entire bed is just white, and then in stuff like Horizon, it's got the blue kind of tint to it. And basically what we want to do as prop artists is we want to make our assets as versatile as possible, right? So essentially we've set every prop we can up with tint palettes, just so that there's that extra variety and you don't get fed up of seeing the same sort of assets. It's a very powerful way of being able to mix things up, which is really awesome.
It saves memory as well, right? So if you were to, let's say, texture this in a software like Substance Painter, and like you just author the texture for the specific purpose, like I'm making an orange cone, and then you pump the orange cone in, like that's it. That's your texture. Whereas if we make it white and then we allow this tint system to go in, it means we're not having to export like 100 textures of all the different colors of the rainbow, just in case we want to swap out and do a material override.
Heavy Bob asks, what's the recommended CIG Spotify playlist I should be listening to? That would be Run the Jewels 4 Deluxe. And be sure you get the remixes in there. And then another question says, who made the Buster Bars? I owe that individual a drink and probably a bar of candy. Who wants to take credit for the Buster Bars?
The Buster Bars?
I have no idea.
Are they the chocolate bars?
Yeah.
Oh, I
see.
see.
Think that might be Tom.
That might be Tom, yeah.
TK.
We'll just give it to Tom. Tom can have it.
I'm pretty sure he did, because I think, yeah. Shout out to our boy Tom. OG Tom.
So you're at about the midway point on the show at this point.
Danger.
Well, you know where you're at.
We're about to do like a blue
right.
Here's one we prepared earlier.
So time to speed up. Right. Yeah, I was trying to find a texture basically for that pattern. So I'm just going to rob it from, there we go. So now we've got that hexagonal pattern, and you can see it's very distorted sometimes, but we're gonna fix that. We'll fix it in post.
Hexagons are very futuristic. Everybody knows hexagon is the shape of the future.
Yeah, we don't mess around with no boxes anymore. No circles. Everything has to have angular stuff. Right, yeah, so we've gone over POM, we've gone over tint palettes, and we're creating the new material now. So you can see already, compared to the original one, they just had a kind of flat texture on it, which is fine, but we can make it look a bit more interesting. So What we've done is kind of gone for a more kind of durable plastic, because obviously these cones are probably going to get battered about and reused and used everywhere. So you kind of want something a bit rougher. Gonna add that there.
Like, roughness is the term we give to like the way light plays on a surface, right? If you ever see like in a game or even in real life, right? The way when light hits the surface and it like scatters and it looks really nice and there's a variation, like that's just so appealing to our eyes. So, we have something called a roughness map where we can tell the texture, hey, I want you to be really shiny if the light hits you here, and I want you to be really dull if it hits you here. And then you end up with these really nice variances on your surface.
Hits your eyes and the texture really shines.
That's roughness.
I'm very tired.
Let's have a nap. We'll take over.
No.
Don't worry.
It's CitizenCon season.
Pain season.
Little bit, but it's worth it when the day comes.
I'm excited. This will be like my first CitizenCon. Gonna get a cake and everything. Oh, what am I doing? I can't click. Help. Why is that not?
So I've just looked up on our server a bit about the Buster Bars, and a lot of people have helped make that asset. I don't know how new it is, but I couldn't pinpoint it, so we will just give Tom the credit. But yeah.
Yeah, if anyone wants to email me after to claim credit, that's fine.
Just go to Tom.
Yeah, it was all him. Right, so at the moment we've got some different materials in the editor, and it's different in Max at the moment. It's all white. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly sync the material, and that's just going to make sure we got a better representation of how the materials kind of split up in Max. So it just makes it that much easier for us to kind of work with. Also at this stage, I'm kind of just happy with where, how the chamfers are. We usually don't collapse stuff this early on because, maybe it needs to be reviewed, or usually stuff that's being designed without a concept needs to be reviewed as it goes along, just to make sure that we're not going too far ahead and then having to backtrack if something isn't, quite right. But in this case,
we've got 20 minutes left, so approved.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Collapsing refers to like when we have. So in the top right, you see we've got like all those buttons like symmetry, UV unwrap, shell, push, edit. There's all those, and there's way more that are hidden. But we can apply those on top so we can work non-destructively. So we can like model and then press a button, and then it'll almost procedurally do the rest of it for us, like based on the parameters we have set in those things. But it does limit you in what you can do, because after a certain point it starts breaking. So when Lewis says he's collapsing, he's basically going, right, I'm setting that to be my default now.
Means this is going to be very hard to go back on and fix.
Yeah, right. So
I'll explain it to Ian. I'll clear it up.
So basically, yeah.
Here's your asset. Ian, I'll just be like, I got this one, Ian. You have the whole rest of the game to art direct. I took the cone. It's cool.
We'll fix it in day one patch.
The most iconic asset ever, really. There it is. Look at that. There's Pom doing its magic. So we just floated a plane there, and it doesn't look like a plane, does it? It looks like a little indent, and that's Parallax Occlusion mapping doing its thing. So you see in the bottom left, look at all those different things Lewis can like click to add. Obviously, we're running low on time, but you can kind of see. I think a really good showcase of that as well, if people who are like into this kind of stuff and want to like learn more. Jake did a weapons thing a while ago in Maya, and they did a really good showcase of how to use POM in there as well. So if you're interested in that, there's a little bit more over there. Yes. But we all use POM.
Show off POM every chance I get.
Yeah, we love it.
As long as they use the fancy explanation and not the
not the weak one. Yeah, exactly. Don't have time for that. So there you go. You can see it gets bigger now. That was the magic button, by the way. So Lewis pressed the button on his keyboard, and then all that box appeared with the text and stuff, and that was
This one?
just that's just doing its thing, and then boom, it's in game for us, and it's just honestly, it's
the big part of the workflow is like basically like being able to iterate fast. So you saw how fast we got from max to this, you know, and there it is. Like you can you can straight away compare. You can really get in the scene, and you know, remove your helmet. but you know, you can really get in there and sniff the cone and be walked on.
You can really get in there and sniff the cone.
Yeah, that's.
Can we get that quoted, please?
Yeah, don't, because it's Twitch.
All right, we got 20 minutes. It's time to extra this thing up.
Right, cool. Well, so I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna insert this.
Are we adding glowy boys?
Yeah.
So in game engines, we have something called emissive maps or emission, depends who you are. Basically what that is like, make me glow, and the game engine renders that surface as a light, and then we can make things like, so whenever you see like a blinking light, that's essentially one of these little planes or something that's like being told to like flicker. So Lewis is going to have, he's just setting one up here, and then we'll be able to see a little light going. Should be pretty cool.
That's the plan anyway.
Yeah, that is the plan.
We have come up with a way we can even if we run out of time. I mean, if you can warn me when we're at about the 10-minute mark. We
covered all bases. Like
we covered our ass on this one. we did. It depends if I can actually work out how to model or not during the remaining time. Okay, so I've changed this ID to be a glow, and then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do something really cool. So I mean, on the original one, we've got this is actually a glow bit. But usually you wouldn't have something like that. You wouldn't have like a light source just unprotected on its own. It would be a light source, but you'd have like glass over the top or something, right, or a cover. Especially on something that's like, quite industrial or something. So what we're going to do,
like a thin layer of acrylic or something like that. See that ID where he's putting the number in on the right? That's where we choose which material we want to apply.
What I'm actually going to do, because you see we've got a bit of weird. So the chamfer modifier can carry us to a certain point where we can preview what it's going to look like, but the shading becomes a bit naff. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to apply some custom normals to this, which is basically going to save our life really, and make that look a bit nicer. So this is what it looks like before. We'll add it to our custom normal save sets. We're going to make sure it's all set to one smoothing group. And then we're going to apply it. Boom.
There we go.
Wow.
So normals, when we describe a normal inside of game development, we're usually referring to the direction something's facing. So in that case, Lewis had done some stuff which meant 3ds Max had kind of got confused which way things were facing. So that script there, another bit of witchcraft from our tools guys, allows us to basically go, or sort yourselves out, guys. And then that's exactly what it did. You press the magic button, and then we're in business.
Yeah, we're doing so we're very fastly mapping this just because of time constraints, but just the whole way along, the asset doesn't need to look perfect as long as you can kind of see it developing where you need to and get the rough idea of what it's going to look like. That's kind of where you can go with it. And you can see
we're gonna make
we've got the glass, and then in here we've got a glowy texture. So we've got a glow and we've got a normal map over it, which is giving it that detail. It's currently facing the wrong orientation, but that is fixable. But if I turn the glow on now,
magic.
We can crank it to max, or we can lower it. And then we can do stuff like, take the glass, for example. If it was mapped properly, we'd be able to turn around and tile it more. to give it more of a, a different effect. So we could just get rid of it, or we could go to the same spot, or we can go higher. So about there. So this is another thing we do for for environment stuff or lighting team. We can set it up so that there's parts that glow, but maybe you want it in a dark room and you can't. We don't know where this is going to be used, so we can't think of all the scenarios, but we can set it up in a way that makes it friendly for all the teams. So, for example, for the lighting team, because they've got a glow, we can set the material to be light linkable. We could drag in a light.
Very bright light.
Very bright light indeed.
And what we'll do is we're going to tell the cones emissive map, so that ID, that decal glow that's highlighted in red in the top right at the moment, which is our material that says, hey, this is the bit that glows. We can now go, can you please look at the nearest light and adopt the same color as that? So that's what Lewis has just said there. He's just told the asset to look for the light, and now he's going to change the color of the light, which will change the color of the emissive.
So you can see it's now linked to that. We're going to turn effect. Where is it? It's this one, maybe. That one. You turn effect objects off. And it's not going to work.
It's all right.
So,
we've only got a little bit of time left. Why don't we move to the animation? Let's move to the thing at the end.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So what we're going to do, so this is the stage we got to here. Obviously, assets take a lot more time usually. So I'm going to show you one that we actually made earlier. So if we jump to the finished version, we've got like a light on top. We've got lights all around, like we were saying there. And we've also set it up to collapse. So this is a really awesome little thing. And because of how powerful some of our tools are, we can set it up to the point where so someone could go in and set up an entity so that the player could interact with this and basically, fold it away, deploy it. So imagine you're trucking around in your Nomad. You break down. Oh no, I need to change my tire. And you could just whip this out the back and deploy it around your ship. But this is the kind of interaction you can kind of make and set up, and it's the kind of stuff we do for little props we'll animate, and then you can go a step further and actually create a. Oh, it's not going to work, is it now? Oh. You're right.
So before we went on air, we were throwing.
Like, don't mess with it, Lewis. Don't mess with it, Dan goes.
So essentially, normally what you'd be able to do is you'd be able to pick this up and throw it at a wall, which is pretty fun.
Well, you made it today, so.
I did warn him. I said, if you mess with that asset now, it's really working. I said it's going to break, and it did. So it is what it is. But you guys have picked up things in the game before. You know what that looks like.
That actually be the right one. Yeah, it is.
We're having one last stab at it.
I'm going to re-export it. I'm determined.
So yeah, essentially we have two different types of. See on the right hand side there we have. It's kind of hard to see, but in that wall of text we have brush and entity. So what we've been dealing with so far have been brushes, which are just static meshes that don't do anything, and then entities we can start to have a bit more fun with them then. So that's how we. So like Lewis has basically broken the entity, but the brush is fine, which is why it can animate and stuff, but it can't do that. I mean, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but he's just deleted the level.
This is game dev in a nutshell. It never goes right.
He panic deleted,
and
now it's dead.
Look at the sun coming in through the window. I thought you were in.
Oh my god, yeah, Lewis. Can they see that?
What is that?
This happens like for 10 minutes a day because of the way our house is positioned.
It's called
10 minutes a year.
Pull the shade.
Oh no!
Just in time to see the crash.
Disaster.
That's okay. We'll make it in time to do the final thing. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to pick it up and stuff. But yeah, like when we have like entities and stuff. So whenever you guys pick up like your chocolate bar, what was it before? You were talking about your Buster's chocolate bar, like. That would have been set, so we'd have made that first, and then we take it into a software called DataForge, and then we kind of explain to the game like, oh, this is how you pick it up. This is, and after that, that's when you can go up and hold F, and then you have the nice blue text, and then you can like do what you want.
But folks are making the 30K, joke in chat. And it's like we were just sitting here trying to make a safety cone, and we've had 2 crashes within an hour making a safety cone. So when we say we understand, when we say we feel you,
we do.
We get it. We get it.
If anything, we've only gamified your crash. At least you get to play the game. This is my life day in, day out.
Where is this screenshot? There it is.
Okay, so
we're back.
We're back. Actually,
you need to press.
It might work.
Don't test it.
Nah.
Yeah, no.
Life's over, mate.
Continue on with your demonstration.
Okay, right. So, we've got this is what we have now. So, we've got our cone. We'll turn the glow on. No, we won't. Where is it?
We're going to set dress. We're going to create a little diorama for you guys to show what, I don't know. We need like a screenshot contest with who can use this cone the most effectively. I'd be so impressed. Look at the lens for on this as well. Come on, God. Right, no, cool. Yeah, so we're going to place a load of these cones around this thing. There we go. It's glowing. Look. Very nice.
Cool.
So we have just enough time to like create a little diorama where chuck a load of cones around the workers.
There we are.
For this illegally parked thing. What would happen in the real world is by the time we'd finished manufacturing 1 cone, the person who illegally parked this vehicle would have left. We'd just be sat there with a cone.
Yeah, they would have left in this hour. And so for the final hurrah,
we're going to give them a parking fine.
Yeah, Pico's going to give them a parking fine. Because as we know, Pico is the law. In this verse.
We don't mess with Pico.
And there we go. That's how the props team deals with illegally parked Argo vehicles. And yeah, the workers can now go about their lives. Off you go. Be happy.
Watched by their overlords.
Watched by the overlords.
There they are.
You guys have too much time.
You'd be amazed how quick he did it. I was amazed. I swear he's done
I was
it before.
amazed. The tools, they're just effective, man.
I'll be speaking with Corey. This will show up in your yearly review.
Oh, God. That's probably in like 4 days, right? Oh, God, no. Bad timing.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your Friday, and then, of course, throughout the week to set this up. That's it for Star Citizen Live this week. Remember that ISC is on hiatus now. We are on our typical 3-week hiatus at the end of every quarter. Star Citizen Live is also going on its typical yearly hiatus around CitizenCon time. So the next time you'll see and hear from me or our developers will be October 9th, which is a Saturday for Digital CitizenCon. I don't know what time it starts yet. Check the schedule, see when that's updated to know runtime and all that stuff. And we got all kinds of panels. We got our Life in the Verse panel kicking things off. We got ship talk. We got persistence and server meshing. We've got the sounds of space, our audio panel. We've got Gen 12 and the Vulkan renderer. We got our Planet Tech tools, and then of course we've got Tony Zurovec bringing us home with another update about systemic tools and stuff like that. So it is a big day. Get yourself a pizza, get yourself a I was going to say a 6-pack, but that's not going to cover it. Set yourself up for a whole day of festivities, October 9th. Again, check out citizencon.com to find out when it starts. As soon as we know, it'll update there. So yeah, I'm Jared. That's Lewis. That's Dan. And see you on October 9th, everybody. Take care.
Take care, guys.
See you later, everyone.